Hello and welcome to everyone tuning in. We're here at 670 Media at the Runting Studio in Bristol, now powered by Void, on behalf of D&B Link Up. If you're unaware of us, D&B Link Up is a growing and dedicated peer support network for the drum and bass community. We want to raise awareness of the importance of peer support and the benefits that it can bring to our personal and professional lives. Support networks can help us to spread the weight of our problems and are closely linked with positive mental health. They can also present us with professional opportunities that naturally arise from the networks that we've got in place. Currently, we exist as a Facebook group, so come and find us online if you want to get involved. We want to create a space for people to connect with each other, share opinions and ideas to spark conversations on the critical issues that we face. I think today we can all agree that now more than ever, we need to come together and build on these networks as a community for a more supportive and collaborative future for the scene. Speaking of which, we're joined today by MC Gusto and DLR to my left. Big up, guys.
Big up.
How's it going? Yeah, what did you think to the Void sound system earlier?
Yes, I've played on Void many times, and yeah, I'm a big fan, always.
Yeah, it sounded sick, especially because the mic was nice and loud, which was the most important thing.
Crisp.
Cool. So, just on the topic of peer support, how valuable has peer support been for you guys in your careers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm full-time musician, and it can be quite like an isolating career if you want it to be, and it's for me it was always just about being part of a crew. We started Collective Bristol, with me, Break, Gusto on set, Mako, Randall's a part of it as well on set, and Hydro, Kyo, of course, and there's a couple of other crew as well. But like, it's extending, and I'd say that like just to as a point to that, like I've had moments through my career where I've not been feeling I don't know, like fully happy or whatever, and Collective like often stepped in, just like whenever it like be force you to go to this event, and then people would be there of all sorts, and you'd have to talk to people and like kind of get used to life again, because honestly like when you do the studio thing, you could just be in the studio all day every day. So I could sometimes like try and find my keys and then remember that I didn't leave the house for like 3 days or something, so it's a bit weird sometimes.
Yeah, so it is important to get out there and spend time with other people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think so. Well, I was going to say peer support for me has been really important too.
Okay, yeah. In what aspect?
Well, I think I mean I don't know about you, but I was thinking this more historically. Like back in the day, I would never have done anything to do with drum bass if like, I didn't have friends who were doing it or mates who were doing it. Do you know what I mean? And especially when we were in the early days of doing events or you run the sound system, you had to do it with other people. You couldn't do that by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Suddenly now you're a big producer that you can just sit in your studio. but I think that's true, isn't it? For most people's experience, that you've always got to have like a little crew if you want to run a night or do a system, or
definitely
even if you want to have a set, really. Because at least for my generation, you need a DJ and an MC. So you can't just do that by yourself. You probably were like, oh, we just need a DJ.
But that's what I mean. You kind of go in and out of these little. But like, yeah, I mean, in general, a lot of the immediate crew and a lot of my close friends have always like given me their ear. Specific ones of them as well, like really good at listening, and I like to do that for them as well. We chat a lot about a lot of different things. So.
So that leads us on to the next question. So what are the core benefits you've found from being in a crew like Collective?
But you just said that just said it helps him get out of bed when he's a bit depressed. So he get out of the studio. It's different.
Yeah. I think that's the metaphor.
Get out there. I mean, but I think it's like I think maybe I've got a different perspective to you, because I think you're more like, oh yeah, I'm going to do some shit by myself, or I'm going to be in the studio and do this thing. I've always been like, I needed a producer or a DJ, because obviously I'm an MC, it's nothing, I can't really do much by myself.
Yeah.
So maybe I've got a skewed idea on it.
Yeah.
But Collective is, for me, it's just amazing, because there's lots of people there who are like, yeah we're all doing this thing, and there's a bit you can do too. And I'm like, great.
But like also then you've got all the crew who come down. You meet so many people. I definitely know it's had a really positive impact on a lot of people's lives, including ours. I mean, it might keep you up late, and you might have a couple of beers, but like, Yeah, it's honestly invaluable, and that was the whole point of it, you know. And it's a non-profit night, and we.
Does
support...
everyone know about what Collective is though? Because we're just talking.
Yeah.
Some people might have been like, oh, we don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Tell
Yeah,
us a
so
little bit
that's what we
about
said. You know, it's the Collective's a night that we run as
Yeah.
a crew. The crew I said earlier on. You know, something that
Oh,
me
yeah.
and Charlie Brake started, and then
Was it just you two to begin with?
it was sort of like something we kind of pushed forward. And you know, if you want a bit more story, then
Yeah.
it was more like the quest for a venue. And again, this kind of highlights it that we're kind of hermits a little bit.
You and
at
Charlie
that-
definitely are.
Yeah. And at that time, you know, other people would make me more aware of different venues at times. Like, so Crofters is legendary, but I never kind of knew it as, it's just got like a specific vibe that like as soon as you walk in that room, when me and Charlie went there, we were like, no, okay, this is what we want to do. And until that point, there wasn't that. And it's just that close, intimate, like 100 to 150 people in a room. Sometimes like 8 DJs, you know, going back to back. And yeah, it's just like, obviously, I don't know. I don't really like sort of buy into like this whole like energy idea necessarily, but like, you know, you feel that shared moment together every single second.
What's the energy
Thursday
idea
of the
then buy
month.
into?
I don't know if there's like a mysterious force beyond us that we can't see, but like for sure, like when you're in those moments, you know what I mean? You feel like a part of something, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like you are
Collectors for
buying
the
into
heads,
it.
Sure.
There's some sort of like half buying into.
I think there's
yeah.
a wicked. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think it's definitely a vibe, especially when you're doing it with other people. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
that's
also
it.
people that
Yeah.
you've grown up with, or you've, you know, because me and Jay, and we only know each other through some other people, right? Only
Yeah.
through probably Hopper or Ruckspin. It's our mates.
But
Back in the day.
how about
Back in the
when
leads.
how about when you guys can't be with other people? So like when we were in lockdown.
Jay likes that.
I mean, we've you know, Dave Hydro's got a very specific view on COVID, and
That was your housemate at the time.
and my housemate at the time, and you know, that's, you know, his views are his views, and he's always had that narrative from the start, and he's kind of isolated away from everybody else, but actually we've been doing like loads of Source studio sessions with him on Zoom. And in general, like, I don't really like to kind of like necessarily entertain like all of the COVID chat, but like I'm happy to like be his mate, like close mate, and we just, you know, it's invaluable to all of us. Like, I don't like to know that my mate's struggling, and he also needs people to talk to. So it's nuts, like how we can get him in the studio on. Like, we send like audio over this plug-in and
So
stuff.
you've just
and he
been
sits
still
there.
doing all the same projects as before.
Yeah, like Dave
but
become a
over-
computer.
over
It's really
Zoom.
weird. And then one
Oh,
time
so Smith
Mako
is,
rang me and he was my phone and Dave was the computer and they were talking to each other. It was like
Wow.
this is like 2020 friendship.
Is
Yeah.
Smithy
Right.
dialed in from Oxfordshire as well?
No, he came to the
Oh, he
studio.
came,
Yeah.
He's probably wearing a
And again,
mask.
like when Smithy comes to the Source sessions every time, you know, he's always stated how invaluable that is to him in terms of like just having that thing to
Well, basically, we need to get as much as possible, even if we're in lockdown. We probably will be in more severe lockdown again.
yeah, I mean, we've got
We
our
still need
bubble, haven't we? But yeah, anyway,
Our
moving on from bubbles.
Right, let's move
We've got
on.
our bubbles.
So,
I didn't get a chance to answer that question.
Go
by the
on.
way. No, I forgot what it is. I'll
well,
do the
this
next
next
one.
question is actually directed at you. So,
Oh, good.
there you go, this one's for you. There was a lot of talk online about how music producers have been affected creatively, but tell us about how that's been for as an MC.
Oh, it's been tough. It's been very tough.
I don't know if it's
No, I think just that everyone, it's been different for different people, isn't it? I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe I need this. Maybe I need some more peer support with MCs because
we did a mix in lockdown. Didn't
We did, yeah. We did do a mix in the lockdown.
That's like the start of lockdown.
But for me, it was actually quite. It was more easy than I thought it would be to adjust to life, not doing loads of gigs all the time.
Well, yeah, you've got a kid for a start. So.
I've got a daughter, so I kept me
Yeah.
busy on that, and then also, so I've just got a lot of other stuff going on anyway. I think the main thing for me is, I think, because most MCs who are MCs would always be writing anyway, but you basically just forget how to do MCing kind of, unless you're, if you think about it. I'm not sure it's the same for DJs, but if you
Well,
if you don't practice
mix for a while,
speaking really quickly or in a certain like rhythmic style,
No, I think
for a
it's
while,
harder for MCs.
Then
Like,
you,
to
then you
warm back
definitely
into
like
it.
Yeah.
you just kind of lose. So that was one thing, and also having a lot more lyrics that are written down than I know what they are was also a new thing, because obviously usually you'd be out doing
Yeah.
MCing and learning it.
Maybe you need to MC in the mirror. Is that-
But I wouldn't
That's
say
the
like
thing.
unfortunately like during lockdown, although the MCs like have kind of grown into this current like sit down party scene, like
Have
it,
they?
it's well, as in like
Most sit-down party scenes don't have MCs. Then.
yeah, but I say there's more recently, but like I wouldn't say that they're like top of the list in terms of price. So it's definitely like created an environment where
We don't need MCs anymore.
No, I mean we
You
definitely
can say
do,
if you
yeah.
want.
Yeah, that's integral. Like we have to. It's not.
I think
It's
it's the
just-
council as well. They're not too.
They don't like
keen on
someone
having-
shouting.
It's the voice that carries. But yeah, like
It's true. I've got a powerful
yeah,
voice.
yeah. So it's annoying, isn't it? Like, and I think the MC sort of situation is generally pretty like
Good or bad?
I'd say like bleak.
Oh right.
Like I don't think that there's a particularly good like
It's worse than I thought.
like atmosphere in terms of like MCs across Europe and the world, and like
do you
people have a weird view on them and they don't really create an
Oh,
environment
right,
which
yeah.
nurtures like an MC.
Especially in
It
drum bass
seems like
MCs.
drum and bass. It seems like DJs could get away with like a million mistakes, but as soon as an MC makes one,
Yeah.
everybody's quick to judge, and they're like, "Oh, you went over that bit too much, or you did that
Yeah,
too much."
that's
But a
true.
DJ can kind of fuck up like loads of times.
Yeah.
And then it's like people are just like, "Yeah, I don't like MCs," and you're just like, "I mean,
yeah,
I don't like you," so no, it's like, but like it's a bit of a like you're not really creating an environment where anybody would want to like flourish as an MC. But I don't want to overtake it with that. But yeah,
That was a bit of a overtaken, but I think I appreciate the point. But the thing there's a lot of I think it's a bit like DJs and producers as well, because a lot of MCs who are really rave MCs, also really successful ones, people that do event like, and that's a thing in itself. And there's studio MCs, then there's MCs that go on radio. So I think that's obviously, but like DRS has been putting out some amazing music over the lockdown.
true.
He's been smashing it through lockdown.
I think it's probably just him anyway. Anyone else?
But like also like like that's what I'm saying. It's like about creating a positive environment and like and nurturing people and presenting people on a level where people are like, yeah, that's really good. I mean, even the same with like MCs in tunes at times.
There has
like,
been a lot of
people-
more MCs in tunes though recently, hasn't
Yeah,
there?
but sometimes people just slack it, and it's just like it doesn't sound good. So it's just not very good, and then like it's that kind of gives it a bad name or whatever. But
I think that's
so
true.
so
yeah.
it's incredible, but it's about creating that environment and like giving people a platform, and we want to do more of that with Collective and SWU, was it SWU FM?
Yeah, you've got a show. haven't you?
Yeah, we want to try and showcase more. I think we've always tried to make room for Bristol MCs at Collective as much as we can.
But I'd love like young people to.
But that's
be
what
like,
we
yeah,
need. That's the thing that we need. I
wanna be
think
an
that's
MC.
Yeah.
and that's the point. I think is a good one because MCs are old. Drum bass MCs are old. I'm old.
There is some.
I mean, I'm a.
There's not
I'm
much
a
like
dad.
young blood
And
in
there's
our side
no-
of the scene.
There's
Is
a
it because
few.
they haven't
There's a
got
few younger
mentors?
generation MCs, but it's just like they don't see a space or a gap in this. If you're if you're really on writing lyrics and being like, I want to be a good lyricist, you're not being like, oh yeah, John Bass would appreciate me.
Yeah,
That's not
no.
what you're going to think, and you're also not going to be like, oh, John Bass is going to give me, the context to do it in.
But
So I
that-
think that's also a big. But then you end up with the other thing, which is like people want to be an MC. Not naming any names, it might just be me, because they want to be like an MC. Do you know what I mean? It's a thing. I want to be an MC and
But
be,
that's I think
and
that's drifted
cool.
off a little bit more now.
How,
But, yeah.
how do you think
Yeah.
how do you think this situation
I think
is
you should cut
affecting
me
stuff
off,
like that?
yeah.
Like people kind of aspiring to want to be part of the scene. Like,
Yeah.
how do you think this coronavirus situation is affecting the scene as a whole?
I mean,
But what do you? I've got a big question
Very
around this. Sorry, I
positive
want to
things
get
to
in
say
it
about
before
that,
you.
but-
Do you move something? But like in terms of the scene, what do you guys see? What do you think is the scene? Or what is the scene for you?
Well, if you're talking about my end of the scene, like underground drum and bass, then like like the underground drum and bass artists, the network that is that,
The
and
heads.
like like all of the DJs and the MCs and the punters who are involved with that. It's quite a tight knit sort of.
It's got an undercurrent, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
got this undercurrent. Of
But like it's been like
underground.
honestly like
Yeah.
it like I don't. We were discussing this last night where you were like, imagine if everything was like perfect, like art would have to find a new way of expressing. Like right now, people have got a lot to express. So like at first, like for 6 months, I don't want to answer your next question because I think it is that, but like yeah,
What was this?
it's
one
like
again?
important sometimes. So at this moment,
this is the
we
scene.
really want to like do something and express something, and also it's kind of reshifted the economics of what we do. People are thinking about new ways of earning money, and also like it's cut away a lot of actually like the excess like kind of what I get frustrated with like there's a lot of like shit out there. There's like zero content, and instead of like that shit's getting cut away. So like certain managers or certain agencies or certain clubs or whatever, like it's about the art and the artists, unfortunately. Like, and it's I don't want to be cutthroat about it, but it is a cutthroat moment. So
Well,
like you
yeah.
know now like it's actually coming right back to, and if we're clever about that, then we can do something like really positive with that. And like at the moment we have to be positive, and they have never given us like fuck all like for like ever, like, so I don't see why this is any different. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
for sure.
like they don't subsidise us or anything like that. I don't expect them to, but like I'm just
Who's
like
saying the government?
yeah, the government.
Yeah.
But I think that's the exactly correct, isn't it? The scene, whatever scene it is, because I think everyone's got different.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't really know. I feel like I've got some scene, but I don't know what it is. I just know. I don't really know what it is. But the thing I definitely agree with, like kind of what Jay said, was that it's getting reshaped a little bit, and it's reshaped in terms of the people that are really like, yeah, I've still got something to create, and I'm doing this for this and this reason. They're still doing it.
Yeah.
People that would be doing for other reasons, like making money, for example, it's like you can't do that anymore.
No.
And you're just
So-
shit, you know what I mean? And you're like not.
You can't do it anymore. And if it's just like, oh, you're doing certain things, and again, I think
Yeah.
in drum bass, like
But
a lot
that's
of
what-
other
but that-
scenes, people get opportunities for do some things because they're doing other
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
right? So it
Yeah.
all becomes a little bit mixed up. And like you say, now with the whole shit hitting the fan, I think it's the thing that's going to only remain after that is the whatever the artistic input or creation is. That's going to.
But yeah, like obviously it affects everybody differently. So I mean, you know, I don't know. Like it's very difficult for a lot of people. And it's been difficult for me at times, and
it's been tough for you.
it's been difficult for a lot of other people in different ways. So and of course, like if you're being like ejected out of something because you haven't really like it's going to be tough. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to reevaluate where you're at. And I'm assuming like you know a lot of people have lost their jobs recently and stuff. So it's a very hard thing to deal with. You've got to reevaluate, and that's not only because you're sort of like I don't know, like what I'm trying to say. I know I'm being a bit militant, but like you
It's
know,
kind
like
of
this kind of like
needed, isn't it?
excess kind of like thing that's always leached onto art and music and stuff to kind of make money out of it.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like you know, it must be a difficult time for a lot of different people in many different ways. So.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're
Hard
just
to
lucky
say.
that we're here doing this, aren't we? Really, because a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of artists, a lot of DJs haven't like a lot of whatever they were doing. The opportunities is gone, and that's a big. And that's I think that's
It's
the
a big
fucking.
part of people's lives.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so. I mean, that's the thing that I was most surprised of. But I think I'm lucky because again, I've got like a daughter. I've got
Yeah.
other things that I'm doing, things that occupy me. So when that part of my life was you know was gone, it was, and also able to do other stuff in the studio or do MC and work on. Write loads of bars that I'm never gonna like remember or perform or whatever, but just you know keep doing what you're doing. But a lot of other people either like, especially professional MCs is the worst because professional MCs, you know, that's where the money comes from. So for the professional MCs out there, who've spent 20 years like fucking killing it, smashing it, giving so much value to everyone. Now it's like, I mean, a lot of them are doing well. A lot of them, some others aren't doing as well, right? And the same with, I guess,
Like,
professional
I think
DJs.
it's actually
but-
it's really hard for DJs, like
but
people who DJ.
people who are DJs, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that's a difficult situation.
Same with people
you know
who
what
are
I mean? And that
MCs,
is like
MCs.
that is really yeah, that's not fair because you know that's their profession and literally you can't do it. So it's
Yeah,
not really
you have
like
a
you
right
can
to be
DJ at
out.
home or like live stream, but then that's just like a whole other world as well, which isn't necessarily
I
going to
didn't do
pay
it
for
all.
the bills
I
that they're
couldn't
used to
be
paying
bothered.
for. Yeah,
It was just, it's felt really flat. But
yeah. So it's
moving on
difficult.
from that, so if we were to look at the music industry in 10 years, how would you want it to look? What is the outcome? I know it's really
John
hard
Bay
to...
should take over the music industry.
I mean, I just
That's
think
it.
that like it's so like I talked about this last night and I talked about it quite a bit recently that you know is a complete divide between the underground and the commercial side of the scene.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like can only specifically talk about the underground. Do you know what I mean? So if I was to say where this scene would
Commercial
be,
drum bass scene.
it's even like I'm more likely to know like other underground
Yeah, of
house
course.
or like hip hop DJs in Bristol than I am to know like commercial drum bass DJs or producers. Do you know what I
Do you
mean?
think,
So-
is there like a definitive different commercial drum bass scene?
Yeah, I think
Am I
so.
just
Yeah,
exposing
yeah,
ignorance
yeah.
here?
Pretty
So it's
much.
like
that monetized.
So, but
some
one-
focus or Wilkinson.
Yeah, one thing
Superman
about
stuff.
drum and bass that's really important to like understand is that like maybe like other scenes, but very specifically with drum and bass, is it's always given people an opportunity and a platform. That's why right now we have to address like the how inclusive it is and everything else, because that's what it was always about. You know, like, and it doesn't matter whether you're you know, black, brown, white, posh, you know, poor, whatever. Like, you know, it just didn't really. It was indiscriminate to that. It was just like, yeah, you've got tunes. Like, you know, like Randall will just like play your tune because it's good, and then you become like accepted into this circle, and it's a really like close circle of people, and you know, you go to Sun and Bass or something like that, you know what I mean? It's like all the punters and the DJs and everyone knows each other or whatever, you know. But yeah, so
privileged.
so I think like I imagine it very much like continuing to that point, you know, like drum and bass is constant and it's consistent. Like it very rarely like deviates from like where it is, apart from like from its dramatic fall from the 90s. But like, but then like after that, it's just been like a steady flow of just like, it doesn't like peak or trough like dubstep or whatever. So am I cussing dubstep?
I mean,
I don't mind it, but like, I like it, of course. But like,
dubstep's coming back.
it peaked and then it.
Yeah, it's true.
Why are you trying to just kind of wedge that in there? I mean, I was going to say, I think the thing that we were also talking about before was this again, it's not like it's a new thing, but artists really taking control of the value chain, right? So like, obviously you've got your label, everyone else has got a label. That's part of the reason why you set your label up. Obviously it was for altruistic reasons as well. You want to support young talent, etc. But also mostly it was so you can make more money off your own music, right? And that's really
it's have to control.
Yeah.
Specifically,
Okay. They have control of the money. But that's also the thing now. All producers are doing those USB things, and again, that's much more profitable for artist or producer, right? And so hopefully that's where the music industry is going to go, where the power keeps coming back to the artist, right? I mean, I guess it's like what you're saying.
When I'm talking about this, so I am thinking like, you know, like you start to
commercial.
think like, yeah, it is quite like insular. And could like, but if anybody wants to be a part of that, whatever, you know. But if you want to disrespect that, then I do think it starts to kind of get like, you know, you know, yeah, it's quite brutal in the fact that you'll kind of just be ejected or you're not really.
What was this? If you get
like, so like, I think like we have to be careful with stuff like, you know, the clubs and stuff like that. Yes, I do think a lot of clubs obviously deserve to be open and should be open and blah 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 all the rest of it. We have to understand that like a lot of clubs are built on drugs money and like gang shit or whatever, like in a lot of ways, and like people funneling like money out of music and like high ticket prices and polarizing crowds and like, you know, like like having nights, specific
commercialization.
Nights
and
so like then you're like, oh well, what do we actually want? Like, do you know what I mean? Because there's never going to change just because there's like fabric goes or whatever. Like it's never going to change. Like we're always just find a place or make a way. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I think that's like really important to like maybe think about at this time. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's like it's blanket like save everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, of course. Like let's be there for everyone, but at the same time, let's understand like what this is all about. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you want?
Yeah, well, we need music. We are going to need. Well, yeah,
music
10 years time, I hope music venues will still be there. I guess.
Of course, and they'll change.
The question is about music in 10 years time. Remember?
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Like that's where I expect the scene to be. Like very much like moving in this kind of same positive direction that I've always felt it, and I hope like much more inclusive, and not just like you know, a bit white and middle class, basically.
Yeah, people that are there because they want to be there. Cause
yeah. The music started to represent that all of that shit recently. It's very vast, like the selection of sounds of drum and bass. I think like it's very inclusive with drawing people in. You know, again, rather than just being like tech or like, you know, like neurofunk, which is just like just very like not inclusive at times.
Do you guys listen to like what kind of music do you listen to?
Jay listens to drum bass all day long.
No, I don't listen to any drum and bass.
Well, like in particular when you want to feel kind of uplifted, if you want to get.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Bandcamp though. I just love listening to Bandcamp or Radio 6 or something like that. Just like kind of
I love Radio 6.
Yeah. I mean, like listening to Iggy Pop or something's really sick.
Annoying,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's just like always got a sick story to tell and stuff. Or Huey, he's really positive. So yeah.
I do. I like a lot of. When I want to feel uplifted, I like a lot of rock music.
Yeah, what are you on about?
You said you listened to
System of a Down on the way here.
Oh wait, were you making him listen to System of a Down?
No, he said
I was
he
listening
listened
to it.
it.
I mean, and also lots because I think that was. This isn't like a revelation or anything, but people have always talked about the fact that now, in today's age, kids that grow up will have a totally different musical education from at least I had growing up in. Because I'm 36, I was growing up in from like mid 90s onwards, 95 till like 2002, 2003. That was my musical like taste curation periods. Obviously, garage. I didn't like garage. I fucking hate garage. I like garage a lot more now. Jungle, drum and bass, and a lot of golden era hip hop, a lot of rock music, like all the greats from them days, right? So System of a Down are part of that. Radiohead, Nirvana.
Radiohead is not. I mean, I love Radiohead.
No,
They're amazing, but it's definitely not like I'm living the time.
But this is the.
But it's like, yeah.
Depends. But all that.
Of course, it's deep.
But all of that is what I still listen to now. It's
Yeah,
the music I used to
yeah.
listen to in those days, and a big selection of it.
Yeah.
I listen to new drum and bass mixes a bit. I listen to actually some folk music's nice, English folk music, American
like,
folk
yeah.
music.
Nice.
Yeah, but like
But is that the sad? But it depends, doesn't it? Because
I love like I mean I've got like my sound system set up in my house, so I just like rinse out some. I mean I love bass. So,
you do have a little regular
like so
bass.
like you know
Never
funk,
guessed.
soul, jazz, obviously
You're
dub,
partial
like
to some
big
disco.
dub. Head, I love that shit, and like yeah, I would just like you know it's sick, just like rinsing a sub, just having a nice like little moment, and it definitely that changes things. I'm very blessed with that, like very fucking
Well,
privileged.
you've got a big system in your house.
Just generally, yeah, to be able to do that, it's not
Yeah, that
necessarily
is
what everybody can
very
do. Do you
I
know what I mean?
know.
But yeah,
That's
like
very
putting the
lucky.
headphones on and going running, and just like listening to like really nice selection,
Oh, you into fitness,
broad
are you?
selection of music.
Fitness.
I like some fitness, yeah. And do you know what? And I specifically like fitness for my mental health
Good.
because I just think it's like a good outlet.
Of course.
I'm not really fussed about like being.
I do also pump iron for my mental health.
I know, but you just don't eat, so it's just like there's no muscle to gain, I guess.
I do eat a lot. I eat a lot of nuts and seeds.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question
Yeah,
regarding
good.
music.
Thank you. So your T-shirt release, so Chihuahua.
Do you know I bought that off him?
It is sick. So
I didn't need
what's
to.
the best
Shouldn't
kebab
have
in
bothered.
Bristol?
Oh shit! I know. I should have thought about this. Do you know what though? I don't actually
let the
know.
side
Like
down.
I know,
Doesn't eat
but I
kebabs.
don't think that like.
He doesn't think it's ethical.
Oh, maybe if someone could
It
tell
is
me
you,
because
yeah.
I don't.
Don't impose your views
I
on us,
don't think
Jay,
that like
right?
Bristol's necessarily got the best kebab selection for
No.
sure. Like, but London's
I
obviously
think
like
Lebanon's got the best kebabs.
your end's in London
Yeah,
or
what's
whatever.
London
Like,
saying?
I mean, I live quite near Green Lanes, and
yeah,
that's got
exactly. Yeah, so you just get
got,
the
like,
premium
a
selection.
lot of Middle Eastern and Turkish
Exactly.
restaurants there.
But if I want like dirty kebabs sometimes, you know, just with chips or something. I mean, it's
They've
rare
also
occasion.
they've got a doner there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Not many
You'd be
people
surprised
get
that like, I think like a lot of the sofa sound shit is not necessarily. I'm not really into sofas. I'm not really into like a lot of the
I mean,
like
these are
things that are like related to like I don't know why it's just
It's
like
things
that's
that
how it works. you know what I mean?
Adam Menzies came up with it.
Yeah, and
He's a creative director.
Menzies
Very
is like
good
yeah,
artist.
Menzies created that thing, so yeah, he's sick.
It's really good.
He's
a
yeah,
creative
yeah. I like it, and we did it on the greasy t-shirt and stuff.
I
and-
think that t-shirt is great.
but it's super
Yeah,
high
it's
quality
really cool.
t-shirt and shit, so we had to charge like quite a bit of money
It was
with all the other bits.
ethically sourced and stuff. and
Yeah,
sold
like you
out.
had to, I'm trying to do.
I mean,
that
are you
every
going to pick
time
up
now.
the Sofa
Yeah,
Sound
it is.
supporters because they support you
Just
relentlessly,
literally ridiculous.
keeping
I know,
you
they're
in,
so
keeping
good.
you
yeah.
in beans.
So we're going to do stuff like, you know, you can like find the people who spend the most money, and then like sell them more products. No, and then we're gonna like, no, we're gonna and then we like you know just send them random messages and be like, oh yeah, you get a limited edition hoodie or something,
Oh,
you know, and
nice,
stuff. And they're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah,
just
but we're
like.
not going to tell him it's old stock from last
Yeah, limited edition is in like no, but serious because it's like really good and it's so supportive and it's funny because then I like go when I used to DJ, I used to be a DJ before COVID.
There used to be raves in that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Used
But
to
yeah,
be
like
hundreds of people.
you know,
in the
like
same place.
I'd meet
Spitting on
like
each
someone
other.
on, and I knew like you know this like so random one like you know in Austria like oh hey which Sebastian oh is it Sebastian Baumgartner and he's like what do you know my name and I'm like yeah I mean I send you t-shirts all the time mate
And he's
It's like,
clearly wearing it.
like you know and your name's Baumgartner and I know you live here and blah blah blah
And
and
you're
he's
wearing-
like what
you're
the
wearing a
fuck
t-shirt.
like so yeah it's really cool like you know and it's always like an interesting interaction and stuff like that and then yeah and it's buzzing like because the Sofa Sound merch gets like a lot of support around all different places I know yeah I'd say thanks and again like it's Adam like it just
Right,
makes
mate.
them sick so
Yeah, he's
Do you know what I'm ripping.
Go on in.
commercial suicide there you go
Big up Clue every time.
yeah
Got your
Ah.
back, G.
but yeah thanks yeah it's cool and yeah like I said really like can't
I mean,
thank-
I think it's
the,
great.
mu- the,
Sofa-
the artists and the punters are like now
Mm.
kind of like that's the entity of the label you know what I mean and I'm like they're just like wow okay
But that's where that's where it's got to go to if we're gonna, we're gonna survive the fucking lockdown.
Yeah. And people will support, won't they? I mean, Bristol.
That's it. You saw that happen. So like, if you, so this would be like good advice to anybody is like, being able to create like, it's not about going Babylon, but like using that business knowledge to like create like a bit of a brand, something to grab hold of if you want to do that.
I mean, you do need a brand.
Yeah. So as an artist or something, like understand that you're valuable. So like Kairos recently self-released a Bandcamp thing, and then that got picked up by Spotify, and it's a positive thing to do because you have a lot of power.
Get 0.0001p per play now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so she got quite a few plays, so she might get like sort of £100 or something. But like, no, but it's really cool, and that's how you start to like. I'm not gonna use the word capitalise because it's not a nice word. Like that's how you.
No, but you've got to be hustling this time.
Yeah, that's how you hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Because Kirsty used to make obviously most of her income was from shows, big shows. You know what I mean? She's smashing it. Yeah. And she will be smashing them shows again. But obviously, like you say, it's about hustling towards like, okay, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
The hustle's real now. You know what I mean? It's like, and thank fuck that I had Soap Sound and the source recordings, and we had the source and blah 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 and all this other shit. My like
that also means you can control decisions. You can change things, right? Because if you're just working for other labels that you're not working with, then
yeah.
You just rely on someone else.
I could see the economic switch like instantly, like, and because they could buy into what I did, people bought into what I did, I know that Perez has done is doing really well, and also super grateful for all of that shit as well. He's buzzing about it all actually at the moment, and so much energy, and like just fucking legs it to New Zealand. Bastards.
He's got the right idea.
So
what about for people who can't leave the country? Would you have any advice for them?
Yeah, you got to like knuckle down.
You got
to knuckle down and like, but there's a big support structure there within the scene. Like we're all there for each other, and if you want to be a part of that, like I said, it is very inclusive.
I mean,
if you want to be real with what you do, don't fuck about, because it does have a habit of like, that's what I'm saying. It will, if you're a joker, you're not gonna.
But that's always been the thing
very real.
It goes back to the whole peer support thing anyway, right? It's like, drum bass has always been I've always found it really open and welcoming from anyone. Yeah. Like, I've been touching the mic after Navigator, like a boat party in Croatia, and he's just like, safe, like respect, big up. And it's the same if you contact someone on a message. Obviously, like, it depends on different people, but most of the people I know.
You have to build to that as well. Like, I know it's difficult for young people.
But you can send tunes to anyone. And the thing is, it's like, of course, I'm sure you blank off loads of people, but if you're like focused on producing, like doing something, and you're like, I'm just making tunes, I'm just progressing, I'm just working hard week in, week out, day after day, then people recognise that. Yeah. So that's exactly how people make progress. Is
authenticity.
But like, like at the beginning of lockdown, one of the guys who runs a production company who for Outlook Festival.
Okay, sounds like it's going to be.
No, it's like yeah. He's got like I just hear Laurie laughing. He's saying that his wife's brother was very depressed at that time, right at the beginning of lockdown, or kind of in amongst that period. And big fan of me and Break, and he just asked like, could I kind of pay for you to send a vinyl that's signed out to him and stuff? And I was like, obviously we'll just get that sorted. I think he actually just asked me, but then we hooked Charlie up. Yeah, always wrote Charlie in this joke. He's like, what the fuck is this game? Like, what are we doing now? But we sent him that, and I don't know whether it was like the answers to everything, but definitely he buzzed off it, and it was really nice.
But that's the thing that everyone
and
loves
again,
that, right?
there's that whole thing of like, if you ask, you get, and blah blah blah, and we are there for each other.
Everyone is happy. Is basically, I think. Yeah. Well, maybe we're going to go out on a limb here, but I would say 9 out of 10 people in their life are generally happy to help. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That goes for anyone. And if you're like, I'm just working on this thing, can you help me? And then, you'd probably be like, no reply. But if you send it to me, I'm like, what can I do? But honestly, a lot of people are like that. And so I think that's true. And the drum bass has always been like that for me, at least. Anyone that you meet, or any of you, if you go to someone and like you're upfront about it.
If you
then
like,
people are going to respond and be like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
no
We've
one's
all
gonna
had
take
our
the fuck
moments,
off.
you know what I mean? I like standing there in front of like Det or something, going like, yeah, bruv, like, oh yeah, I make tunes and
I
stuff.
would never
you know,
do that.
when I was in
never
Innovation in
do
the
that to
Sun when
Det.
I was 15, and
Shouldn't have
and
been there.
the first Innovation in the Sun as well, sick. I got
Where
the
were your
DVD at
where were the
home, it was
parents?
sick. But like, I remember standing in front of Det, just like, yeah, bro, I make tunes, like, blah, and he was just like, right. Like, but I was on
doesn't actually
drugs
like-
at the time, and like I was definitely like just weird
I'm
and like
disappointed to hear that.
sweaty and gross
But
and like, and it was just like, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. You got like the way you put yourself across to people, and like you have to wait for those moments. You have to build to things, and yeah, it takes work at times and blah blah blah. But like, if you're gonna go up to like most
mean, that
DJs
is-
and MCs
yeah.
and like say big up, that's a sick set, thanks so much, blah blah blah, they'll be like, yeah, sick, thanks so much. And any DJ or MC that I know, or any artist that I know, is happy to talk about like most things, as long as you don't like hammer people about like, oh, you know, how like do you do that snare drum and blah, and you're like, oh, my girlfriend's here and stuff, you know, can we like not talk about, can we like gauge this situation and stuff, like let's chat, you know what I mean, like whatever you want to chat about, but that's, you know, try and gauge those situations right, and like, you know, it's very, yeah, like I say, welcoming to that.
I'm amazed you went up to Det.
No.
Because he I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I don't know if he likes producers that much.
I don't really know why I did
I
it,
think he
to be
likes
honest.
DJ. He likes DJs. He doesn't like.
But I
producers
like
that much.
loads of those situations. No, I ran a night. So like, that's the thing. Like we ran a night Central Beats up in Leeds for long. That's the thing that like is important to this as well. It's always been there. You know, like this whole community aspect that we have.
true.
And we used to
Community
do
spirit.
like mixes in this basement, this like gross basement in my first
That was
year
your house.
Leeds house, and like that was my
Big up
bedroom
Birdie,
as well.
Barch.
And it'd be like
Oh,
4
was that your bedroom?
MCs, 3 DJs.
That was great.
You know, and it was constantly like on
Some
that.
people used to like MCs and be like, yeah, the
Yeah,
more
yeah.
MCs the better.
But
MC
it was
convention.
You know, yeah, so you know, it's always
Didn't
been
last
there
for
from
long.
the start, basically, and been really, really important to me, and that's how I started to build on becoming an artist that people knew. It was like this all-encompassing thing. It wasn't just like, yeah, I make tunes, and I wasn't like that good for like a long time, if I'm honest with you, and
Right, it's
I don't necessarily think I'm like that great now, but
You better.
like I'm better. But like I really wasn't
You're
good.
sick, let's see.
But like honestly, like I took long time, so like it's so long. So I had to kind of fill those gaps with like sound system, like you said earlier on, events we ran as a crew, and loads of other things like, you know, and house parties, blah blah blah, all this shit, and just built on that shit, you know, and started to meet artists. I meet DJs, met at
Oh, yeah,
TC1, you know. Then you start to like get to know these people.
I remember why you started talking about this. 'Cause
Yeah.
you were like,
Everybody says,
because
like-
you ran the night, that you got to meet.
yeah, that's how it's all like, you know. Yeah, it's
Because Anne,
putting yourself in
Anne was
those
a big
situations.
support of you back in the day as well.
And literally
Big up,
gave me
Anne.
all of my opportunities, and like gave me something, and, like, and that's what I mean. Like people like him and Goldie and other people have always been like.
Don't forget
super,
Ruxpin, though. He gave you.
Yeah, like of course, and then yeah, like LD50 and Ruxpin
Oh,
were the guys
yeah.
who like
What about
initially kind of
Birdie?
like gave me that. And the
Birdie,
same with
Barch.
you, you know, like, and then
Of
you know
course.
he wanted to MC, and we were all like, yeah, let's fucking do this shit.
I
you know
wasn't.
what
I
mean?
didn't want to. I was already an MC at that point. I was established.
I think
Yeah, but you wanted
that
to do
probably
the-
brings us nice.
Yeah, exactly,
full
yeah.
circle as well.
Fine. You wanna hear my life
Probably a
story?
good
Let's
place
wrap
to wrap up. Yeah.
On that note,
On
see you
that
later.
note, is there anything you guys wanted to shout about as a leaving note?
Any releases coming up?
Releases, so
Have you got any releases?
Oh, loads of stuff. I mean, it's endless, really. But yeah, next one's Hit the Target with Break. It's a thing that's been floating around.
Was
for
that Source or
No.
DLR?
DLR, bro? It's been floating around for years.
What, the one with the
Meow.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
dive bomber one?
Yeah, yeah.
The-
So that's all about like, because I wanted to put a positive message with that. So the artwork's all about like dropping love bombs and, you know, having vibes and
that's a hard sell because it's definitely about, you know,
killing,
killing.
maiming. Yeah, no, look, all right, we're flipping it.
It's
That's
not-
what I'm
in
saying.
fact,
I'm turning like a negative into a
The whole
positive.
tune is
bro.
about who can kill people
Like,
the
but
best. with
yeah,
their
so
bombs.
yeah, and yeah, thanks to like everybody basically for sticking in, and there's loads more to come from all of us. I know what's going on in the back end of the scene and stuff, and yeah, it's like there's a lot of
Back
exciting.
end of the scene.
Well, like, you know, all the different artists who we're involved with and stuff, and everybody's making some like really incredible music at the moment,
Yeah.
and the support's amazing and shit, and just let's all be patient and make this work.
Good advice.
Well, but I didn't get to big up anyone.
Do you want? I mean,
Yeah, I want to
it's-
big up Collective. Like,
Yeah.
why can you not do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Big
Big up Collective, big up If for running Sofa Sound. Irfan Khan,
I think
Mr.
we can
Carnage,
Legend.
and big up Adam Menzies for doing all the artwork and making it really
dig 'em.
special.
Really good. Anyone else?
I mean, that's, there's just too long a list to mention, and thanks to
Yeah.
you guys for making this happen.
You're
and
welcome.
Well, thanks
really
to you
fun
guys
to play the
coming
back-to-back with
down.
you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And big up to Runtings and 670 and
Shouts to Laurie for
Laurie.
running the
Shouts to
thing.
Laurie.
Laurie for
Running
managing
the
controls.
thing.
Nice one.
So yeah, check it out. D&B
Yeah.
Link Up.
Yeah, find us online. See you there. Nice
Sick.
one.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, my legs.
All legs.
Oh, my legs.
Thank
Right.
you.
Did I go on too long?
Probably.
No.